Alright guys, so in this video we're checking out the FPV Beta85x GoPro Lite Edition. This is actually a custom build here, pretty close to the 85x that you're going to actually purchase, and I'll link that down in the description. And I made a bunch of modifications which I'm going to talk about here in this video. I already posted a couple of flight videos. I'll link those in the description as well. I posted those earlier, and this is the bench discussion on this particular model, and also I'll show you some more flight footage at the end of this video as well. I've been flying this quite a bit, getting really nice footage here with the GoPro Lite and stabilizing the footage with ReelSteadyGo. This is actually the 85x that I made a video on almost a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. So this has the version 1 of the frame, which is not black, it's white. And the version 2 is a little bit different, and the version 2, and I think the 85x will come with the carbon brace plates. So this one here has a lot of frame play, and if you actually mount this plate here without the little dampeners, you're going to get a lot of jello in your video. And I also heard that some people are getting jello on their 85x GoPro lights from actually the more recent ones with the, I think with the brace plates and everything, because this PLA plate here, there's actually 2 of them, were directly mounted to the frame, and that's going to transmit some vibration. Now that's with this original mount design here. You see it's got a hinge, and it's actually directly mounted to this. They've changed the design a little bit, so now they have a new mount here with the actual attachment point here dampened a little bit. So I haven't actually used this. It's actually I already made this design before I got this, and I did print this one, this actually in white in different TPUs. So this is Sane Smart TPU. I don't know what TPU they're using here, but this one's definitely more dense or firmer than the Sane Smart. Sane Smart is pretty flexible. So I want to print this out, and I was trying this out. I got a lot of jello, so I just stuck with the little dampener. I created these little dampeners here. I put them up on Thingiverse. Basically, it's basically the idea of making the clean plate here that the Uma 85 has, and so I just made some dampeners that will just fit this design. It's a little bit different, so I just modified them, and these basically just keep this top plate from transmitting the jello from the motors into this top plate, which will keep the gel out. But as you can see, it moves around a little bit, and so you're going to have to vary the density or the infill of this print here to see how much movement you're going to want. Because if it's too flexible, then you're going to get a lot of movement. I mean, I can force it to move here if I want, but for right now, I found at least for me, I found a setting that works where it doesn't really show too much shaking in the flight footage or in the FPV feed, so it's fine. And then once you take the footage and process it in ReelSteadyGo, none of that's there. You just want to make sure there's no jello, because the jello will mess up the footage. But ReelSteadyGo can take out any of the little shakes and minor small movements that this dampening system will actually create. In terms of the electronics and the motors, those are the same. I think these are the, I forgot, 1105, 6000 kV. I think the actual 85x GoPro has the same motors and the same 12 amp 4-in-1 ESC flight controller combo, the single board that's been around for a long time. And I just changed the props. I'm using these HQ 2x2x4s. These are not quite as noisy as the Emax Savants, and they're a little more efficient, so I get a pretty decent flight time. I just run on a 3S450. I don't even run it on 4S, and it's totally fine. I get like at least 4 minutes of flight time. And I'm running a different video transmitter. It's just the one from Happy Model, and also different VTX antenna here. This is from Foxeer, the micro lollipop, and I actually have a Crossfire receiver in mine. So in terms of powering on the GoPro, I'm not using the little plug in the back here. I just have a little pigtail that goes directly to the battery leads, and then I just have the other pigtail here, goes into the back of the GoPro Lite. I just plug it in, and then hit the basically just have it set for quick start, or I think it's called quick capture in the GoPro settings. I just hit the record button, automatically turns on the GoPro and starts recording, and then when I end the flight, I just hit the record button again, stops the recording, and turns the GoPro off, and that works pretty good. I haven't had any issues with corrupted files or missing recordings or anything like that since I started doing the quick capture. And I just use this power setup here. I don't use the transmitter to set up the third wire for starting and stopping recordings. You know, I just feel like it's just easier just to plug everything in, press the button, you know, once it's all powered up, and then go fly. And then when I land, press the button again. It's pretty simple. Alright, so here's how much it weighs. This is with the GoPro on there. Yeah, 90.9 grams, and then add whatever your battery weighs. I think the 453S is like under 30 grams, like 28 grams, I think. And then let's see how much this weighs without the GoPro. This is how much it weighs without the GoPro on there. And now we're coming in at 62.3 grams. So basically, if you've gotten the first version with this mount here, without the new upgraded dampening mount, you probably want to add these dampeners, and I'll link those in Thingiverse if you want to download those. And you just raise the basically this plate here, turn it into a clean plate, and that works pretty well. Just have to make sure you adjust your settings on your printer so that you have the right amount of dampening. And basically, if you have too much dampening, it's too loose, then it's going to be, your FPV is going to be too shaky, or if it's too stiff, then you're going to get jello in your video. But if you have the newer version, this one here, you may not need this, but I don't have that actual setup to test it. Just letting you know, all my footage came from this particular setup, the way this is right here. And then the last thing you guys are probably asking about is these little foam bumpers here. This is obviously an add-on. This is basically window insulation foam, adhesive on one side, of course, and it turns these into little bumpers, which is good because if you're flying inside the house, you might scratch your TV, for example, like I did. You don't want to do that. And also, what this does is it stiffens up this duct a little bit so it doesn't flex as much. So sometimes if you hit something, these ducts will will actually flex a little bit, and then you'll actually get hit. So if you hit yourself, sometimes you'll get cut by the prop because this will flex enough to the point where the prop can come out and possibly, you know, hurt somebody. That helps as well, but mostly it's to protect your furniture and stuff and anything you bump into with these plastic ducts, because they still can scratch things. And also provides a little bit of cushion in crashes and stuff, so it doesn't, you know, absorbs a little bit of shock. And I think this is kind of a trend, so you can pick these up really cheap. I think I have 40 some feet of this stuff for like under $10. So I'll link that in the description as well if you're interested in picking up this foam. I think it's like 1/4 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch, and it's, you know, pretty easy. Sticks on with this some adhesive and works pretty well. Anyway, more videos on the GoPro Lite coming up later. Obviously, I like this system better than actually the UMI 85 setup, where the GoPro is actually permanently installed in the drone. You know, there's advantages to that because you have a little bit lower profile, but the disadvantage is that it's a permanent installation. This one here, you can move it from drone to drone. So I'm going to have this on a custom 95X that I'm going to be building, an analog version of that, as well as the digital DJI version with Vista. Show that later, and they can put this on other drones too, like, you know, like a 3-inch. I have this on a 3-inch as well, which I haven't showed you. I might have showed you in a previous video. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. I have this on a lot of videos. So yeah, the good thing about having this setup here with the pigtail, as long as you have another pigtail on the drone to your power supply, I think it's like anywhere from 3 to 4 is probably pretty good. Then you're going to have power for this, and then you just have to have a mount, and you can move this from, you know, drone to drone. You don't have to actually have multiples of this if you want to use this on different drones, because it's not a permanent installation. Anyway, that's what I think is the advantage of this one.